Hello everyone, welcome to another weekly market review. It is the 17th of May 2021. Crypto has been very exciting over the last week and price has given us some very strong clues as to what is coming in the future. Let's have a look at what we can expect. Let's start with the total market cap chart. I'm gonna look at the weekly. So weekly we have a bearish engulfing candle on the week. Of course, no confirmations until what we get on price this week, but as of now, it is a bearish engulfing. Let's drill down. Go to the 3-day first. Okay. Just gonna put on the ADX on the 3-day time frame. So if you're in the Discord, I pointed this out already, but just in case you're not, just going to show you something very quickly. These are the 3-day divergences on the ADX. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 higher highs and 1, 2, 3, 4 lower lows on the positive DMI. But most importantly, you get bear divergences in an uptrend, guys, but there is waves, and this is the real true way and the power of the ADX, which shows you the strength of these divergences, and where you should be paying attention to them. And what I want to show you is the last bearish divergence where the positive DMI failed to break above 25. So this has a real edge in the market. I'm just dishing out these things day in and day out for you guys, and I know it's free, so I know still a lot of people don't give precedence to it, but this is a real edge in the market, guys. Everybody has indicators, but most people don't know how to use them. So if you want to understand high time frame divergences, you can see this. If you're going to see high time frame divergences even on indices and big stocks, they can diverge, so you can see where the divergences started. So we had the peak in January and it's actually February. So if somebody who's just playing divergences in general and they're like, oh look, it's a bear day when we have to play this, you're basically wrong. Since the 21st of February all the way till middle of May. So essentially 2 months of an uptrend you miss out because you saw a bearish divergence. But which one becomes valid, and which is the one where I started talking about and gave you the attention, was once the positive DMI failed to break above 25 and then started to move down. That's the time to pay attention, guys, because this is where the trend has really significantly weakened out. So this is the time where this added confluence, and this is where you started to see me start to get bearish on the market. Anyway, so let's go down to, I'm going to shift this time frame. This daily is happening because TradingView has not fixed its glitch, which has to do with the volume and the VWAPs. This is something they have to resolve at some point, because you can see what kind of problems it brings on any significant time frame charts. This volume spike that happened on the 11th, they haven't fixed it. But anyway, let's go down to the 4-hour then, without the VWAPs for now. So on the 4-hour we had this rising wedge. Price tried to break out of it, we did not find support. But very importantly, this was a block, a significant resistance block. We flipped it into support, tried to break out, failed breakout, and now we have flipped it back into resistance. So what I would say is currently we are at a great place to manage risk for downside, because if price is bearish, we should end up holding this zone as resistance, and we can still potentially grind up here. And what I would say is that if we can come up higher, break this high, and then start to find support here. Then you can start looking for some other kinds of setups. But a very good setup right now would be if price just has to kind of grind up here, come up to potentially these highs and fail here again. This will give you a trigger for potential downside, with very good management on your risk. So I would say that for downside, this is the kind of setup to be looking for. It's a really good level. This rejection here with this block, it's a very good and significant level. It is potentially possible we don't end up getting all the way up here. You have confluence with resistance right here as well. So nice place to manage risk for the initiation of the downtrend that is possible. In terms of levels, I don't know why this has happened, guys. I thought this was pretty much okay, but I'll just say, ignore the anchored VWAPs for now. That's what we can do. In terms of levels, but if you just project it, you can know where they kind of are. I'm sure TradingView will fix this. This is the higher time frame correction that we're looking at. Then what I would tell you is total market cap loves the 0.5. As logically, there are significant support levels down below, where we are. There is this daily block. You know what, I'm just going to remove the anchored VWAPs because this is kind of coming in the way. Okay, so here we have some significant levels. This is on the 3-day, you can see them. Here's the 3-day, here's the 3-day block right here. Basically look at where price has traded, guys. If you see what has happened once we moved out of essentially this January level, we did get a bit of a consolidation late February, but since late February there hasn't been much price action, like there is not too much of a consolidation. We do have one 3-day block over here which did end up supporting price for the move up, so if we do end up trading back down into it, you can find some kind of a reaction. But what we need for now for prices to end up stabilizing, and for that stability, essentially these are the two potential levels, guys, and I have a preference to the 0.5 for the total market cap, but we can see, even the other level is about 20% below for the total market cap, where now price has to stabilize. But if this is a market cycle, could at least expect a 0.5, even if it's very bullish. 0.5 is reasonable, but we can still look at this, it's still 20% below. So if you're looking at levels on this chart with this extension, the death of momentum, it took a long time because the market was very bullish, but the first real support is about 20% below, and the second support is about close to 30% below. So just in terms of where you would want to see price start to give reactions. And in terms of resistance, now we have confirmed a significant resistance level over here as well. So this becomes the level to beat. For me to truly flip my bias, what I would like is for price to find support over here and break this resistance level. So we have a very clean resistance. We have a couple of support zones over here. We have the logic which was giving us a really good place to end up finding somewhere to exit our bags. This is essentially, this is the complacency shoulder. This is where I was suggesting to de-risk, guys. It's pretty much right at the top of the market. Now we have to see how price has to go. For now we have that suggestion of an exhaustion, and we have flipped key resistance even on a lower time frame on the 4 hour, and what we have is clear support levels below us. On current market cap weekly time frame, we have a different picture. As of now, there is no break in market structure. Of course, we have a decline in momentum. We have a significant divergence on the 3-day. Again with the DMI failing to break over 25. In terms of market structure, let's look at the daily. Quickly look at the market structure on the daily. I think it'd be better to just look at it on the 12-hour. I really hope TradingView fixes this. They should know how many people chart crypto on their platform now and should not be so careless. So this is the low that made the high. Okay, we have broken it. We have made a lower low, but in terms of market structure, we will have to put in a lower high and make a lower low for this market to start declining. But just remember, guys, the Altbtc ratios did reach a place where it has now become time for for them to neutralize. We will look into that, but for now this market has held up. It has held up better than BTC. A lot of alts have been able to still hold in terms of relative strength. So I think there are still some alt BTC players that have decent play on them. Alt USD probably not so much, because they will, even if BTC continues to drop and some alt BTC pairs move up, could possibly have sideways. So if you are still biased to the upside, even though the evidence is against that, and you are used to being long only, you could still find there will always be outliers. Every downtrend you still end up getting some outliers that will outperform Bitcoin. And if in fact you can always find some alts that could do really well against Bitcoin while Bitcoin gets a correction. So if that is something you're looking for, you should scan a few charts and find these outliers, and you can hide in them if you are a long only player. But if you have been able to de-risk while we were looking at it, it was in this zone, in this complacency shoulder over the last 4 to 5 days. I have been sending out too much logic and too many warnings. If you're still hurting from this drop, you have only yourself to blame. There is nobody, because I was not showing you something out of my own bias. I was only giving you multiple points of evidence, and the rest of it is up to you. It is up to your mentality. It is something that you need to review in yourself. If you do not have the correct mentality, if you had too much logical bias where you are not able to think about the potentiality of the losses that you incur, because your mind is too engaged in the rewards that you have been getting this whole while. And that's fair enough. This is a fault in the brain. It's not really something personal, and the only way to kind of bypass it is to have a very process oriented approach and to trust your process. But the thing is, your process is your own. My process is personal to me. So it can be that I am very clear in my own logic and I can give you all the evidence, but since you don't have your own process based approach, it is of course very hard to trust someone else's opinion, no matter how much experience they have in the markets. But nonetheless, this is if you've been caught holding alts on an average, that's not too big a drawdown. It's still about 10%, but it's not too big unless you capitulated late last night, then you're down about 15 to 20%. But anyway, for now, I mean, essentially, even on a daily time frame, all we've done is on the altcoin market cap, we have only broken the low that made the high. So even on a daily time frame, in terms of market structure, we have not confirmed the downtrend. We will confirm it if we put a higher low and then come back down here. Then then we would have confirmed a downtrend in this market. But as of now, it's reflecting weakness across the board. Just look at these tops. It is from the 5th of May, about 2 weeks of just you can see the difference. Just look at the difference in the structure over here. Okay, just look at this structure right here. Quick top, but price is spending a lot of time down here. Look at this structure here. Yes, we spent about 5-8 days like this, very quick down, and then a recovery above here. Look at the structure over here, guys. Just look at this structure. You should, over a period of time, you can just start seeing structures and know what looks bearish and what doesn't. It doesn't look like a very bullish structure to me right now. And if we get a 12-hour close in another 50 minutes where we are, this kind of confirms break of support. Essentially this was the support on the 12-hour, which we confirmed as a break, but the bounce was so much, it gave a lot of people hope that this is not done. That's why it was met with a lot of skepticism over the last 4-5 days for being bearish. So this is essentially why, even though we did break support, we got a very strong reaction, and people thought, yes, we are still in this up only environment. But anyway, we have about 50 minutes to go, and if price is closing below this 1.22 trillion, then you know that this support is broken. And if you're looking at levels below, I'm just gonna go to a time frame which doesn't have those anchored VWAPs, because that's gonna okay, they're coming back, but see, something's really wrong with TradingView. They're not showing up in that funny way like they are in that just in another window. It's really weird in terms of price and in terms of levels. So we will have to see. We do have a level here where we have found support. I do not think it's so significant. Let's just go down to the weekly first. Okay, so on the weekly, here's a significant weekly level. I can see it's pretty far down, guys. It's very extreme. It's about 45%. It's the first real significant weekly level I can see, which has been cleanly tested for a support resistance flip. Outside of that, there is literally no price action over here. So for a weekly time frame, this is a level, but I would not qualify it so much because there's not so much price that has traded. Maybe there's a 3-day level over here. Not really, guys. And there's a daily level. Just drill down a bit more. Okay, we have a reasonable daily level down here as well. So yep, that's the second significant level that we have. That is about 30% below. Why I'm looking at these levels is looking for somewhere that price logically has to stabilize, and we need that stability because we have a few signs where potentially the market needs to find a level where we find stability. And see, what you need to be prepared for. You're not just looking at this, oh yes, we are big bull market, so the first SR flip we're going to look at, and it may hold, but we're looking at probabilities. If this is a reversal, if this is a higher time frame reversal, which currently only the Bitcoin chart suggests. So that is something interesting also. But just remember, guys, alts are very fickle. Alts against BTC, they can just start to drop even while Bitcoin is just sitting and going sideways. But if in terms of looking at resistances, in terms of looking at the extension of price on alts against BTC, that is something we're going to look at as well. But for now, significant support level right here. This is a daily level, but I'm just going to remove it for now. I think it's not enough price action over here for a mid-term time frame that I would want to qualify this as a significant level. But for now, we don't have a break in market structure. We only have a lower low, So still, we have a decline in momentum on the altcoin market cap. First significant level where price can potentially start to sit and settle if it has to is another 30% lower, and the significant weekly level is about 45% lower. So just think about the gains as well that you have made. Don't be overly biased, to the upside, at least now, while the evidence suggests to be cautious. You want to flip your bias. First, you will need price to settle down, but also for the upside, you need to look above this level. This is a 12-hour level. What you need for price to do is now to break back above here, start finding support. If price can do that, then we can start looking for continuation of this trend. Until then, even if it settles down over here, that's highly impressive. But for me, the more logical levels are lower. First of which is close to what, 840 billion. And that would be a pretty nice level for price to settle down. We had significant support over April. Think about in terms of how quickly price has moved, guys. We are not even close to the levels that we saw even just a month ago. We are significantly higher. This is also a reason, people are in reasonable profits. It's about 45% higher than what we were in April. So when we are in reasonable profits, it's difficult to figure out what happens. Also, the dynamics is very interesting. This would be absolutely brilliant for the market if it completely starts to disconnect with BTC. But I would like to see that. I would like to see if there's some real capitulation in Bitcoin. Will the market still hold on to their alts or not? But for now, we have a lower low. We're looking at levels. Currently, the April VWAPs are supporting price. But what you see is, if you see a higher low being put and then a shift in market structure on the altcoin market cap as well, then just be cautious. Don't be overly aggressive, because it's just your bias that is keeping you overly aggressive at this point. Think about the gains. Think about how much this market cap has shifted, how quickly. Even 2017 did not do this so quickly, guys. This is a 47x in 14 months. 47x in 14 months. That can take some time to wind down, and it takes a lot of disbelief in its early stages. But if this is the early stage, you would more rather be safe than sorry. It's quite close right now. The invalidation for selling is quite close right now. It's just 6 to 7%. If you're wrong, you can just buy 5 to 6% higher and catch the rest of the trend. It might stabilize for a while, buy higher and catch the rest of the trend. If you're right, look at the drawdown that you could save yourself from. 20, 25, 30%, 45%. That's where the support levels are. Just think about it in terms of risk and reward, and whether it's worth it to hold on to your beliefs when the evidence is pointing to something else. Bitcoin on the weekly time frame strong bearish candle. I would say in terms of charts, you rarely see charts looking uglier than this. 4 bulls. If you're a bear, this is a very pretty looking chart. But anyway, as of now, what we have formed is essentially a 3-month long attempt at levels above 60k, and absolutely failed. This most recent rejection has confirmed that now this is a failure, and what we have to do now is look for a place where bulls can get back together, get reinforcements, and prove that this is not a bubble, that we are going to reconsolidate and attack these highs again. And if this is so, we need to find significant levels where price is traded. And I would say on the weekly time frame, the only significant level is down here, guys. This is on the weekly. So where's the significant level? Again, 30 to 35%. That's what we were looking at on the total market cap. That's what we saw on the altcoin market cap as well. And this is what we can see even on the BTC chart. We're looking at higher time frames. Why are we looking at higher time frames? Because this is a high time frame move, guys. Very simple. This is a high time frame move because what we saw, we were looking at higher time frame extensions because price was making higher highs and higher lows on higher time frames. And very clearly 5 days ago I showed you this is the low that made the high on BTC. We are on a weekly time frame, so this 50,000 low is the low that made the high to 65. What we did is we broke that, right? That's fine, that's fair, that happens in all bull markets. The lows that make the high, they get broken. But then what we did is we put in a higher low. We failed to break this resistance again. And if you remember, this is where I got cautious. Yes, we did try to catch it because I had one last potential validation level. We will look at that before. But this is where again I was telling you it's a good place to cash out, good place to take some money home. This has been great. We're failing at the same resistance again. This is a 3-month resistance now. Feb, March, April, half of May, three whole months. Anyway, so we got that rejection and we have broken this low. We broke this about 5 days ago, but we have confirmed that. Not only that, we closed below the wick. In case some people are like, oh, it's going to be a wick. We closed below the wick. So this is an entirely bearish weekly close, guys. You're looking for bullish setups here. I do not see how valid your technical analysis is. What is technically showing you that you start to fade the beginning of a move on a weekly time frame? It's your bias. You have a bias which this move up has created, and what you're doing is you're not allowing the evidence to show you how to flip your mindset. Again, and this is not your fault, and I'm not getting personal with anyone here. This is just something that the human brain does. It's really, really simple, guys. When we are caught up in the pursuit of rewards, our mind switches off to the dangers that the risks present us. It is risky to be looking for upside on Bitcoin from here, but you want to, it's your choice. This looks absolutely terrible, guys. No matter what you want to say and what bias you may have, I had built a perspective for on-chain analysis as well, but everything has to be based on evidence. Yes, there was evidence of accumulation here. I spoke about an exchange of 2 million Bitcoin in this in this level alone. And what we had to do was to confirm that we had to still at least break out of this level. We're breaking out of that level down south, guys. That is not a good sign. That means that the fat money that was buying at these levels, I will go down now. I'll go down to the 3-day time frame because there's more evidence over here. Anyway, but the fat money that was buying at these levels, they have not had enough capital to support the selling that has been coming in. You know, if this was to be a bullish market structure, guys, roundabout here was still where I still had a case for being bullish. But as soon as we make this 3-day candle, I'm sorry, but everybody who bought up here, they kind of, in fact, if you look at the anchored VWAP, I'm just going to remove this one because it's not needed anymore. Everyone who has bought since the Jan lows, on an average, they are well in a loss right now. That's what the anchored VWAP show. And there is no supporting, there's no support in price right now for that. So what is that showing you? That's showing you that what could have been potential accumulation has now been confirmed as distribution. This is distribution right now, guys. If you are going long, fair enough. I don't know what logic you have for it apart from just being in a bias, because price is showing distribution, volume is showing distribution. Do not fade the first phase of a distribution. I would just say that do your short-term thing, but the smart thing to do once market structure breaks is to shift your bias. You should be, if you're a professional trader, you should be looking for short setups, because this is what this chart is suggesting, to be looking for that. And trust me, all the really, really smart people who are not included in this bias, which I would say, now Bitcoin has attention of big hedge funds, smart money. They're shorting right now, whether you like it or not. They're shorting until there's a thesis to go long. What is that thesis? It's pretty simple. It's not hard at all. You need to build a higher high. Man, I really don't like this color, this deep red. Anyway, what do you need to do? You need to make a higher high. Find support up here. Get above this weekly level. This is the real level. I showed it to you statistically. We broke down, tried to hold it as support, but we did not end up holding it. The day we lost this again, I told you this is key. And Bitcoin has done this on its tops 3-4 times before. This became a great place to manage risk and just stay out till it gets reclaimed. You don't want to be a smart Tom and try to figure out what happens here. Just wait till this is reclaimed. This gets reclaimed, you have a fantastic place to manage risk, and there is good strength behind you. Right now, the good strength is behind you if you're looking for downside, because that's what this market is showing right now. And if it has to continue, then it possibly would take the rest of the market with it, though it's really resisting. I can see many odds are really, really resisting this drop, and that could be that this is a revolt towards Bitcoin and Bitcoin's price action, and maybe this market is evolving towards something different and something new, but it's still too early to say, and I'd rather not be the one guessing. In terms of support levels, this was a 3-day block. Okay, this 3-day block ended up making newer highs. Yeah, new highs means very significant level. What happened? We came back down, made a lower low, but yeah, price was supported by this 3-day block. Very good. Went up. What did we do yesterday? Is yesterday the day before yesterday is the close. Not only did we trade into it, look at the lows of this 3-day block. Okay, we fully broke down and closed below it. That signifies significant weakness. And then what did we do? What did price do? Price came up right till the edge of this block and got rejected from there. making a strong move down. So absolute weakness, guys. There is no, you can argue that this 44k, we've had a few wicks here, and if we go to a lower time frame, we've had some amount of price action over here. So you can argue that, maybe this support is supposed to hold. I would say that this is the last line in terms of whatever price action is up here at these levels, because after this there isn't anything much. Look at where the next support level is. This is the last place after this where there has been some kind of price action, where price has found support levels right here. Look, and I mean, this is not overly proven, but there's a very significant level. The yearly open is right here, so that gives me confidence. It's not that price has spent too much time here, so now price is going to look for a place to balance itself. This has been tested for a couple of days here, a couple of days here. It's not significant enough to find something after such a big rejection. Look at how many days this has been tested as a resistance. I would say that if the market is playing this yin and yang balance, maybe it would take the similar amount of time to find support somewhere down here to then attack and break this level. So this is about 3 months of price action. It could take a month or two of price action at a certain level to then find these reinforcements and to find the capital and the narrative to move up. Look at it in terms of anchored VWAPs. We have broken below even the November and December. So I think the average of whatever was supporting price up here as well, even that has been smashed, guys. So this is, you don't do that in bull markets. If you do that, you don't break, first of all, you don't break market structure in bull markets. So please do not speak about Bitcoin like it's in a bull market. Bitcoin is not in a bull market right now. Bitcoin has just created a high time frame confirmed reversal 4 days ago. This was it. This week, 13th of May was it. So we are not in a bull market on Bitcoin right now. And I can significantly and clearly say that. If anybody else is talking about it in a certain kind of way, I don't know what your metrics are. Maybe you have your own unique view and that is for you. But for me, we have just created a reversal. This is the initiation of it. And the thing is, guys, just think about it in terms of sentiment. Whenever a top comes, the crowd is always too caught up and to recognize it. And it has happened once, twice, thrice on Bitcoin, and this is the 4th time that is happening. The crowd was too caught up to recognize it. Everybody has narratives in their mind. They are not looking at evidence. I have seen nobody on Twitter talk about a break in market structure. I have seen no one do it. I have seen some good traders who did get cautious here. I've seen some good traders who did get cautious, and that I will agree to. But nobody has presented the evidence of a break in market structure. How do we trade price? It is really simple, guys. We look for trends. What we see is higher highs and higher lows. When you see the first higher high and a higher low, you say yes. So this is a high, a low, the high that broke the low, and you say yes, we have broken market structure. And then what you do is you look for these lows, and your perspective becomes that we are in a trending environment, and as a technical trader, I am going to trade that trend. And you trade that trend till the market does this. You make a lower low, a lower high, and a lower low. Once it does that, you say that yes, it's a reversal. So what a trend says is that it's potentially possible the market would do this, so I'm going to look for this place to trade this down. That's what you look for. It's as simple as that. This is what technical analysis and trading is about. first about recognizing market structure, and then about trading it and having the emotion and having set aside your emotions so that it's not creating bias in your mind. So please, I have been trying to help you over the last 4 to 5 days to be able to try and do that. And this is, again, I reiterate, it's for Bitcoin. I think it's, again, the market is in a very interesting place and we have to see. But if these lower targets have to manifest, I think a lot of the altcoins will also go into deeper corrections. And the thing is, with the market, it is in a very, very interesting place because it is so good to play alts right now, guys. There is some coins that are still in a strong momentum, which, though of course because of this decline in Bitcoin, they are also still declining. But there are some alts that are looking much worse than Bitcoin right now. So they have like great potential downside, very nice setups for downside, and you could so easily hedge. If you really believe in your altcoins, you could so easily hedge in just weaker alts, because now you can play with leverage on altcoins as well. You don't need to take high leverage, just a 1:1, long the strong alts and short the weak alts, if that is your perspective on the market. But don't go about guessing what is going on right now. We are putting in, I don't know if it's a high time frame or mid time, we've just put in a significant top on Bitcoin. Whether you like it or not, that this is what it is. The only way to disprove it, and the only way for anybody outside of me to change their minds, is once we can put in a higher high and a higher low, find support at this weekly level, we can say yes, the market is turned and we want to go up. But for now, everybody who is up here is stuck. This is a lot of people and a lot of coins, and you don't know how much panic it can create. The average price for mining is, I think, still all the way down here. It must be around 12 to 14,000. The average price to create a coin is still all the way down here. And of course, we're looking at the relative gains. Everybody's looking at the relative gains from the last market. Also, the shape of price. Those are just biases, guys. How do we know? And even in terms of relative gains, this has been fair. If you look at it, there is so much evidence. Maybe I'll make a video just for Bitcoin in terms of how this cycle, if this is a complete cycle, this has still been very fair. 65,000. There is multiple metrics that pointed to this could have potentially been a top. So it is not that it's unfair and Bitcoin hasn't done its bit. It has done its bit. Think about the market caps. It's $2 trillion, it's $3 trillion. To keep this kind of market up and to keep it steaming, it costs a lot of big money. Retail does not have that money to hold this up. Just understand that. It is the institutions, and currently they are underwater. This is where Elon Musk tweeted Tesla's bought in. This is where tons of institutions have bought. Currently they are underwater. So I don't know, maybe more capital has to come in, but we have to figure out where this demand has to come in logically, just in terms of higher time frames. If this is a higher time frame move, this is where the level of the real level, the only significant level right now of demand is, if this is lost. Currently we are right here, bulls are trying to make a fight, and it's really good, and it could potentially still play out. We have to wait and see, but it's a confirmed reversal for now. This, on any decent time frame, does not look good. Momentum is drained out. Guys, you've been trading a very high momentum market. Just don't give back your gains. I've said it a lot of times, I'll say it, just don't give back your gains. Play lower time frames, play smaller size, let the momentum come back. Once it does, you will find very high probability and you will see prices moving away from your buys. When momentum is low, you will see that price is coming back again and again to the places where you are buying, because the dynamics are shifting. So in terms of support levels, I did have this jotted out as a support level as well, but like I showed you on any significant time frame, it is down here, guys, the support. And the rest, it can really just take a long time to do that, because this has taken a long time. Can slowly just flush out all the disbelievers and eventually get here. But it's a very, very mature market, so a very, very mature market which has given absolutely outsized gains to you. Now in this kind of market cap, just understand the gravity of the situation. Don't be blind to it. This is a million coins currently, 2 million coins that have been exchanged that currently getting underwater. If price continues to drop, you never know how many of them also have to FOMO sell. In terms of, I saw that people are saying, oh yes, institutions are still buying, somebody's buying, but there is more selling going on, guys. There's more inflow onto exchanges than withdrawals right now. The net flow on Bitcoin is negative as of now. So just even if you are attached to this on-chain situation, the put bias is a massive institutional flow into possibly hedging exposure. So a lot of things are suggesting you need to be careful if you haven't already, because I don't know if you haven't. I gave you plenty of evidence over the last 5 days for you to be careful. Outside of that, so yes, here's the levels for downside. For upside, I've given you the scenario for Bitcoin. Here's odds against BTC. Absolutely spectacular move, since March all the way these 2 months, absolutely decimated Bitcoin. We're getting to, in terms of weekly levels, there is still some room on this, guys. If you look at it in terms of weekly levels, I'd say there's still some 4 or 5% that potentially this market can stretch. If we look at it, very significant weekly level at this 62, we are still at 60. In terms of momentum, here's the weekly RSI. It's absolutely maxed out. 2015, 2017, we did not see the light of day. So it's a great place, to also be de-risking your odds against BTC. At least a majority of them. If you look at this, let's look at some lower time frames. 3-day. Let's look at the momentum on the 3-day. Again, completely maxed out, guys. This is a significant history now. 2021, 2013. It's about 8 years of history. This was very profitable to sell, but you can see you can get a divergence still at another higher high. This happened in 2017. Look, May 2017, got a big sell-off, then got another higher high as well. In terms of where we are, pretty close to this topish kind of environment. 2014 didn't get a divergence, just got a straight drop. But even on the 3-day time frame, very, very stretched. Let's look at it on the daily. So on the daily also, we did get here, we already got a bit of that sell-off. This thing was stretched all the way to 1991. And that's one place where I had mentioned in the Discord to kind of get a bit of a de-risk. We got a drop, but we're still holding on. And if you look at this, it's still in a super bullish zone. If you're still interested in making some Bitcoin, you find some strong Altbtc trends, and you have Bitcoin that's hedged with a short. There's no harm in allowing this, because as a trend, there's no proof right now that this trend is over. In fact, even on the daily, you can see that we have made a higher high even at this level without a divergence. I would not be surprised if this is to continue. On the 4 hour though, you can see started to diverge, starting to get that divergence on a 4-hour time frame. So individual plays again, guys, Altbtc individual plays, very open to that, no matter what kind of, even if it is very bearish for Bitcoin, you are still interested. This has been a great environment to make more Bitcoin, so this comes very seasonally. We waited a very long time for this. So I would say if there is still some more to squeeze out of it, don't be greedy. You can do it with small sizes, and if you want, there is still some potential play over there. But outside of that, I would say just don't be too greedy, because you can see how stretched it is in terms of levels, very close to significant resistance levels. In terms of momentum, very, very overheated. I mean, when it gets to these historic levels, it's really worth watching, and it's really worth paying attention to. In terms of the indices, we're looking at the Dow Gold, and this is on the monthly time frame. You can see basically we've the high that made the low, so we have broken that in March, and currently now we should be building some kind of structure before continuation. That's what this suggests. It's been quite a strong move in terms of levels. I need to go to the quarterly. So you just see how things move, guys, and you have big levels. High time frame charts are just lovely. They give so much clarity, They're absolutely the best charts of all time, these high time frame charts. So just look at how clean this quarterly level is. Resistance, support, broke above, came back down, tested it, and broken above it. We have another quarterly level right here, which is also significant. And I would say if the market is too bullish, there is still potential to hold that. But if we are looking at a reasonable kind of retrace, I would say this quarterly level does become more attractive. Let's just look at all the fibs. So yeah, I think if the market is too bullish, we could hold somewhere up here, this 25-30% retrace. But if it is something more standard, you could look for price to come down here, which means two things. You could find strength in gold and also weakness in the indices. It could be for a small period. So this is the monthly chart. Let's quickly look at the weekly. You can see the weekly has been taking a bit of a hit. Does not look so pretty. So if it has to find support, I would most definitely prefer that we find it down here. This is where I would essentially want to be heavy risk on again. But there is potential for the sell and may go away narrative to hold true, wherein we do end up getting that bit of a risk off environment before continuation. Because as of now, market is suggesting in the longer term macro, we have just created a potential higher high, and we should put in a lower low over the next 2 to 3 months, and get that potential continuation. So very positive in the longer term. In the mid and nearer term, over the next month or two, we could potentially get a bit of choppy waters. And I would say that if you are looking for a longer term move, to wait this out until it starts to show a clear direction and some structure, because this is very early and it's just the initial sell off right now. So we need to wait for that structure and see which level price wants to stabilize. Is it the lower quarterly level or the higher quarterly level? So I would look for support to start forming in one of these two zones, and then play this for potential continuation. Here's some statistics to support the logic of potentially choppy price action, and this is basically the S&P 500, first year of a new party in the White House. And you can just see we are in the middle of May now. We could potentially just get a bit of chop and a bit of sideways lack of directionality until we really form a bottom, guys. I think we could just chop about till we get that eventual sell-off that we have been looking for. Pretty difficult to time it, and you saw that fractal chart that we have been following. Quickly I may look at it again, but what I would say is right now the consensus is that we will get that big drop already, but we cannot be so sure because there is that consensus. It could just chop about early shorters over the next month or two, and maybe we get that drop a bit later in the market. Though there is another thing that a lot of times crypto is the leading indicator for the rest of the traditional market as well. So if that is true, then over the next week or two we could get that potential continuation downwards. But yes, this is some statistics from I think this is the last 70 years average performance. First year of a new party in the White House, just May, June, July, eventually, since especially May and June just doesn't become a very good place. You have to be very specific with what you want to be looking for in upside. And if I would suggest what you want to, I would say look at the gold miners, especially the top names in the gold mining indexes. They are looking ready for continuation. And if that is true, then this Dow gold ratio we looked at could continue to take a hit, and there is still potential to move into a risk-off environment. So be careful of that. For commodities, we're looking at gold against copper, and here we have the all-time VWAP for that. And you can see each time we start to kind of break below it, starts to become a decent time to start looking into gold. Of course, this is a monthly chart, so do be aware of that. Copper has been smashing gold, over the last year. It's been all copper, and industrial metals and copper has been absolutely the play. Currently, we are hitting a quarterly block, so this is significant. This very long to go before the monthly candle closes, so we still have to see, if this can find some kind of a break and a recovery in market structure. But just I'm highlighting it because it's reached an interesting level, and if this does end up flipping, then it becomes time to go heavier weight into precious metals than into industrial metals, because currently currently copper has been absolutely decimating gold. So we have reached significant support, but still over the next few weeks, if this can break this market structure, I would say it would become better probabilities. If you quickly just want to look at it, how price has been moving here, you can just see copper, blue is copper, and it's just been vertical. I don't think it makes any sense to fade this move, though it is at all-time highs and very stretched. I don't think there is any mid-term play over here unless you're looking for structure. End of March we were looking for structure, but over here you would need structure. In terms of structure, gold is a much better chart right now. That is why I'm looking at this ratio, because gold is a much better chart. If this is the one where you need to be able to find structure. Last week I charted it so you can see some of the key levels over there that I was looking at. Mid time frame gold is starting to reduce momentum a bit of this first impulse that it has made, and if you can come back and build some kind of structure, it would give a very good entry for potentially what could be a long-term swing trade on gold. So very interesting relative seasonality that we have on gold and copper, which has reached its general peak that it's had over the last 5 to 7 years. So something to watch out for. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and go ahead and share it with someone else. And if you have any questions about what we covered today, please leave them in the comments and I will be sure to get back to you or answer them in my next video. For more trading content and education, go ahead and click on the video on your right. Thanks for watching, guys, and cheers!